The Boulder is conflicted about his favorite fight scene from book 2. But we're not.
Hey there, Nomads of Lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sean.
And we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home. Today we're going to be discussing Avatar Season 2, our favorite fight scenes from that season. And if you haven't checked the show out, you should definitely go watch it.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't seen our first video of our favorite fight scenes from Season 1, you should check that out up there in the corner. What was your favorite fight scene?
So in Season 2, I've got to go with the climax. In Season 1, I really liked that smaller, more intimate fight scene. That's really cool. But in Season 2, there's nothing quite like the climax at the end in Crossroads of Destiny. So in brief, what goes on in that fight scene, we're down in the Crystal Caves, cool setting for anything. We get down there and Aang and Katara are down there, and Azula shows up, and they start fighting her, and they're doing fairly well against Azula by herself. I mean, even though she's by herself, is really dang powerful and is absolutely holding her own with the two of them. And so they're fighting, but Aang and Katara probably a little bit outclassing her, barely, maybe. I don't know. It's questionable. But then Zuko shows up, and that is the moment that the episode really is named after. It's that crossroads. It's Zuko's crossroads of destiny right there. And then later a little bit with Aang, but they kind of go on parallel arcs for quite a while. But he has to decide, do I abandon everything that I've been doing and going for, and do I turn good and side with the Avatar and fight with him and go and fight Azula? He already knows he wants to fight. Like, he doesn't like Azula. He thinks he's going to have to fight her. He's been saying he got Iroh to train him for that. And he looks and he chooses poorly. And he fires fire bolts at Aang, and then it switches to a 1 versus 1 and another 1 versus 1, and so they're fighting, and it's push and pull back and forth, and at one point Katara gets knocked down, and Zuko is winning their fight, and Aang sees her in trouble, and so he decides to go help her, and so he starts sledding on stone, kind of like what Toph was doing earlier in the season, except less large. And so he's coming in to save her, and then all of a sudden the Dai Li show up, and they break the stone, and he's knocked down, and they are all of a sudden super outnumbered, and they're having a really terrible time, and Katara gets surrounded by the Dai Li, and Zuko's over there, and Aang is fighting with Azula at one point. She kind of gets pushed back, and he's kind of out in the open, and he looks around and he thinks there's no way that I'm going to be able that we're going to win this. We're just too outnumbered, too outgunned right now. Now there's too many people. And so then he thinks back to what the guru told him, and that in order to reach the Avatar state and control the Avatar state and be in full control, he has to release his earthly connections, which for him is Katara primarily. And so he's I'm sorry, Katara, I've got to do this. And so he puts a crystal shield up around him, and he starts to go into the Avatar state. And so when he goes into the Avatar state and he raises up, and Katara's looking up at him, and she's excited and proud. He's gonna wipe them all out. He's gonna take everybody out. And then Azula shoots him in the back with lightning, and he falls apparently dead, or close to it. And of course, Katara's joy turns to sadness and tears, and she's horrified and can't believe this has happened. Everybody is watching Aang at that point, so she, without like thinking through it, but she uses that moment and creates this big tidal wave with the water that's under there and sweeps the Dai Li, and she goes and she picks up Aang. But then they're stuck, and so we keep going through this in this fight scene where they go and they fight, and then they're down, and then they fight, something else comes, and then they fight again. So again, they're trapped, and Azula and Zuko have them cornered, and Aang is down, and Katara is holding him, and it's basically all over. And then Uncle Iroh shows up, and which is slightly devastating. I mean, it's good for our heroes, but he has to face Azula and, more importantly, Zuko. And so he tells them, get out of here. I'll hold them off. And so Katara water elevators them out along the waterfall, and Iroh holds them off briefly. And then as soon as they're safe, he stops, and the Dai Li imprison him. And the look that he gives Zuko at that moment is devastating. There's no other word for it, and it's crazy. But anyway, that fight scene is way cool. There's all kinds of stuff happening. Didn't even talk about there's all kinds of cool bending going on. It's just really, the visuals are neat, and the dynamic push and pull is cool. So anyway, awesome scene.
Yeah, awesome. So my favorite scene is the scene earlier in the season 2. It's called The Blind Bandit. It's the episode, and it's where we get introduced to Toph.
And the boulder.
And so it's at the end of that episode, and Aang has gotten in prison, basically the boulder and all the people from the WWE wrestling group, the Worldwide
Rumble with something.
Yeah, Worldwide Earthbenders Rumble. I don't know what it would be called.
Well, it's called something. Rumble. Big Rumble. I don't remember Rumble.
Oh, you mean, yeah. I have no idea. I have no
something
idea. Yeah.
I don't remember.
So anyway, all of them have imprisoned Aang in a metal box, and of course he can't do anything. But and it looks hopeless. And Katara's like, "We need you."
Toph.
And Toph is like, standing there. Her dad turns around and says, "My daughter is helpless and tiny and blind and fragile."
Yeah.
And Toph is none of those things. And finally she says, that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna help. She turns around, lets go of her father's hand, turns around, goes back in, and Katara's like, "Oh, okay, let's help her," kind of.
And
Katara and Sokka. And
what, I don't know what he thought he was doing.
But she's like, "No, I got to do this by myself," and she takes on, I don't know, 5-6 guys. And there's some really cool scenes of different. She kind of blows them all back, and then she lifts up this basically cloud of dust so she can go in and kick their butts. She walks into the cloud of dust, and the whole time her father and the teacher that thinks she's like basically a beginner earthbender. They're both sitting there. Oh my gosh, what's going on? She's going to get her butt kicked, and it's going to be so sad. And anyway, they get surprised at every turn. She keeps knocking each one of them out with basically using their own techniques against it. And that's kind of her. She's a lot like Aang in that sense of using their own stuff against them, but in a little bit more of a violent way. She's not quite so
more
worried
aggressive
about
in their face.
And not quite so worried about them not getting hurt as Aang is. And so anyway, she does a couple of cool things. At one point, I was trying to think what her dad. Oh yeah, she after she's beat up, several of them, including the Fire Lord
Fire Nation
man, who's an Earthbender. But anyway, after she's beat all these guys up, she's staring down basically the last one, who's kind of the ringleader guy or whatever. She turns and spits, and
her father is horrified.
Father's face is like,
"Oh my god,
my little child! She just spit." And it's terrible.
After she'd already beat up all these guys.
So then probably the coolest part of the whole fight scene is when this guy's like throwing everything at her, launching all kinds of stuff, and she brings up these kind of almost a pyramid shield thing. and completely deflects everything he has. And then she throws a shield at him, and while he does a cool move to get over it and kind of does this backflip thing sideways, and as he's coming back down, he grabs his hand down in the earth, and as soon as he touches the earth, it changes over and shows you like what she sees. Now she sees the world, which is through the vibrations and everything, and it's a very cool outlook. It changes to that view a few times to kind of let you know what she's seeing. But anyway, that point, she sees him and he's throwing something at her. And so she dodges what he throws and immediately throws back while he's off balance and hits him and knocks him out. And anyway, very, very cool fight scene with Toph, and a good introduction to an awesome character.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, those are our favorite fight scenes.
Yeah, from book 2.
That's right. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down.
Yeah.
In the comments below, please comment your favorite fight scene from season 2. Whatever we missed, whatever your favorite one was, or a couple of them. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button down below. Ring the bell, and we'll know when we drop more content. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.